Everyone, Tori the Crafty Girl here, and today I'm going to show you how to recreate the rose choker that's available at Urban Outfitters right now for $79, and you can make it for just a couple dollars. So this is what it's going to look like. You can actually adjust the size depending on how big you want it. You'll also be able to add a little channel in the back, that way you can remove it from the choker itself and you can add it onto anything else that you would like to use it for. So for this project, it's very flexible. You can pretty much use any yarn and hook of your choice that you're comfortable with. I'm going to be using this Big Twist red yarn. It is a 4-weight, and then I'm also going to be using an H hook, which I think is a 5mm. And the great thing about this pattern right here is it's very flexible in sizing. You can create different sizes just with the amount of chains that you start with. So you could start with 21, you could do 31, 41, 51. This size right here is 51 using this same yarn. So it does make a pretty large rose. You can see this is what it looks like in the palm of my hand. But let's make a smaller version. So we'll start by chaining 31. Now to begin, I do recommend leaving a long tail, and that will help at the end when we are attaching it all together. So you'll begin by doing a slip knot, just like that, and then we're going to chain 31. For the second round, it's going to be a very simple repeat. So from the second chain from the hook, so you have 1, 2, we're going to go in and we're going to do a single crochet. And then we're going to chain 2. Then we're going to skip. So we're in this stitch here. We're going to skip the next chain stitch right here. And then we're going to do another single crochet. And then chain 2. And we'll repeat this all the way down. So we're in this one, skip this one, next one. And we'll do that all the way to the end. And when you get to the last stitch, now we're just going to single crochet and stop. So your work will look something like this. It's kind of like a little ladder, and this is going to be the base of our flower. So for the next round, we're going to be working in these chain spaces. So we're going to start by turning. Okay, so this is the way we just finished this row. We're right here. We're going to turn our work just like this. So now we're going the opposite direction. After we've turned our work, the next piece is that we're going to work out of this first chain space. So we're going to start by doing a slip stitch. Pull that through. Okay, then we're going to chain 1. Now we're creating the petals at this point. The pattern for the petals is we're going to slip stitch in the chain space, chain 1, do 3 half double crochets, chain 1, and then slip stitch. So let's do that. So we just did our slip stitch and chain 1. So now we're going to do 3 half double crochets. So yarn over into the chain space and pick up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So that's our first half double crochet. We're going to do 2 more of those. 2. 3. Then we're going to chain 1 and slip stitch back into the same chain space. Boop. And that is our first petal. Now we're going to go into the next chain space. So we just finished this one here. We're going to this next one here. We're going to repeat that. So we're going to start with a slip stitch just to anchor it into that spot. We're going to chain 1 and then do 3 half double crochet. Once again, we'll chain 1 and then slip stitch back into that stitch, or into that space. So now we have 2. We're going to do 1 more just like this. So those are the first 3 petals. These are going to go on the inside of the rose when we roll it up. So the rest of your chain space, you're actually going to be alternating with the petals to make them a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, and you're just going to go back and forth. And to do that, so we were doing 3 half double crochets for the first 3. Now we're going to alternate back and forth between 4 half double crochets and 5 half double crochets. So we will, once again, we slip stitched into that last space here. So we're picking up where we left off. We're going to do a slip stitch into the next chain space, chain 1, and now we're going to do 4 half double crochets. Chain 1 and slip stitch. And the next one, we're going to go to 5. So once again, slip stitch to start, chain 1, and we'll do 5 half double crochet. Now, is it crochet or is it crochets? Which is plural? And then of course, chain 1 and slip stitch. So for the next one, we'll go back to 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, and we'll end with 5 at the very end. And I'll meet you back here once we are done. All right, and once you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch like we've been doing, and we'll leave a little bit of a tail just so that we can weave it in. And this is what you should have, something that looks like this. So kind of a little curly cue that looks just like this. Now to put it together, we're going to start in the center. So we're going to take that long tail that we left at the very center, and we're going to start rolling the rose in on itself. So one thing I like to do is just pick up a loop on this side and go through the other side just to cinch the two together, and that gives us the center of our rose. Then you're just going to roll it gently as you go, and you're going to stitch from the bottom. So we're just going to, it doesn't have to be precise, you just want to get it so that it is secure together. And again, just wrapping as you go, just stitching it together. You can always come back and tighten up any stitches as you go, just to make sure that you don't miss anything. And when you're at the last petal, then you just want to make sure that you stitch it to the petal next to it, like that. And if everything is as secure as you want, pretty happy with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double knot these two together just to secure them in place. It's at the back of the work so you can't see it. That is how we make the rose and put this piece together. But let me show you how to make the channel in the back. So we're going to start by getting that yarn tail. We're going to weave it through our work and get it a little bit closer to the center. So we'll just pull it up right through there. And we left a little bit of that long tail because I like to do a crochet channel, but you don't have to. You can actually just leave a little loop of yarn if that's easier for you, and that would be your channel. It just wouldn't be as secure. So I'm just going to go into the work and underneath some of the yarn right here. And I'm going to do a slip stitch just to secure that yarn in place. That way it'll help my chain be really secure. So now just chain as many as you think you'll need for what you're going to attach it to. For me, I like to do 3. So there's 1, 2, 3. So 3 chains for me is pretty sufficient, but you could also do 4 if that makes more sense. In fact, let's just do 4 for this one, just because it's something a little different. And then you're going to pull your yarn through to knot it. So here's our channel, and the last thing we need to do is connect it to the other side. So you could just slip stitch that in place, but it's just as easy for me to take my darning needle. Again, I want to make sure that it is in the right location. And then I'm just going to pull that yarn tail through and secure it with a knot. Then just take both of your yarn tails, weave them through your work to hide them. And that is how to make the rose with the channel. To finish it off, to make the choker portion, again, I'm just going to use this 4-weight acrylic yarn. And what I do is I actually just double up the yarn. So I take the center pole and the outside pole. I put my 2 yarn tails together just to give it some thickness. And I switch to a larger hook. This one is a J hook. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a slip knot. And then I'm just going to chain the length that I need. That's it. And all you're going to do is in the back of your work, just weave that through the choker piece. And there you go. And now it's flexible. It can move. So if you want to have it on the side or if you want to have it in the back. And that's how you crochet a rose choker. Now stay tuned. The next crochet tutorial that's coming is going to be how to crochet these little daisies just in time for spring. Until next time, everybody, see ya!